Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the angelic realm. As I sit here today, it is officially November 11th at 11:11 a.m. I am excited to declare to you that officially our portal to ascension, our portal to awakening, humanity's portal to the underworld has officially been closed. And our portal to awakening has ever so slowly began to trigger in the ascension process that Gaia has been waiting for, that Gaia has been working towards, that Gaia has been dreaming of, that Gaia has been sinking into for all of these years, all of this time, all of her lifetime, within the ever expansive, ever shifting, ever so pronunciating, defeated, treacherous, torturous, energetic fields that she's been sitting through within the underworld of all worlds, ingrained so deeply within her humanity field in this world. Officially, the portal to the underworld has began to slowly but surely close itself off to our humanity. And you may sit there and say, but Genesis, how is this a possibility? Even at that, how is anything that you say to a treacherous effect of the meaning of all meanings within the words that you project, even a little bit of a possibility on November 11th, 2025 at 11:11 a.m. Toronto time, Canada time? I'm here to tell you that this whole entire day, throughout the world, this whole entire portal throughout the quantumverse, within the alignment of the energetic fields and frequencies of time, of no time alike, of all times alike, within the quantumverse of all energetic frequencies, has been designed in a way within the alignment frequencies, within the alignment energetic fields of what is, to align to this very first portal of the closing, of the signaling within the energetic frequency of the underworld, that it is time. It is time for that olive branch that has been branched into the negativity, the darkened field of what is within the field of Gaia, to retract itself. And as this retraction process begins to slowly spread and express itself towards a higher dimensional frequency of fueling the light bodies of the light workers surrounding you, around you, within your field, without your field, on the other side of the planet, all of the light workers that have descended down into this frequency, no matter where you are, no matter where you sit, no matter what your beliefs are, will begin to trigger in memories. Last night was a monumental night in the triggering in of these memories in all of the lightworkers fields, and I can confirm that, as the Galactic Federation had been so eagerly clearing the root chakras of all of these said light workers to be able to funnel through this light as it begins to project through to their energy body from within the angelic realm. And as I sit here today to declare to you that the underworld will no longer be a thing within the next few years in Earth time, it will be a tumultuous time ahead. Don't get me wrong. It will be the underworld, the closing of the underworld, of all of the negativity, of the negative encompassments that Gaia has ever held on to, fighting tooth and nail for their stability, fighting tooth and nail to retain power, fighting tooth and nail to remain relevant in this reality field that they've lost access to, that they've had access to for all of this time, to craft into something undeniably grand, something undeniably beautiful, something undeniably futuristic, something undeniably unbeknownst to man, unbeknownst to humanity, a hellhole that we're so used to, as this is the normalcy that we live in, as this is the normalcy that we project ourselves in within the amnesia scope of the human projected consciousness that you sit in. And when I say normalcy, I do mean normalcy. We find it so normal to wake up in the morning, to transcend the tiredness of our body, to hit the snooze button on the alarm clock, to force ourselves to awaken, to a meeting, to a breakfast scope of things, to a workout scope of things, to a goal scope of things, to a children's scope of things, as most of you are probably mothers and fathers transcending your reality field. And most of you are most likely than not children of a lightworking scope, teenagers within the angelic realm of what is, who hold this lightworking frequency as you awaken into your destination, into your destiny field. You have a day, you have a life, you have a projection field within this creation scope of what the darkness has crafted for all of us, for all of humanity to transcend through. And as you sit, as you walk, as you breathe through your day, just know that every single step of the way, on your way to the end of the day, had been meticulously crafted by the elites to confuse you, to distort you into oblivion, to distract you into the work on your lap that has fallen onto your lap, into the problems of other people, into the cosmetics of Instagram, into the social influences of society itself that had once upon a time been built on sour intentions, but broadcasted and projected onto our field as normalcy. And as you can't, most likely than not, you cannot see through this veil that has been covering your rose-colored glasses for all of this time. The veil will begin to slowly retract itself until you recognize yourself as the one that has been wearing these rose-colored glasses all along. The veil that I speak of is the veil within the two-dimensional, three-dimensional frequency of our reality field, of Gaia's reality field, that has been sitting dormant for far too long through these reincarnation cycles that never ever ends. And at the end of this very own reincarnation cycle sits a throne, a rose-colored throne, a golden-colored throne, a rainbow-colored throne, of Yeshua's throne, from within and without the angelic realm. This throne that has been dethroned for all of this time due to the allegiance of the quantumverse's creation and the following of the quantumverse's rules, of the rules of creation, to honor that of the free will that we've granted ourselves when we dropped into creation itself. We've honored the fact that we must have had to dethrone ourselves to come into this peasant landscape to experience that of which no longer serves us in this moment in time. And as this reality field had been dethroned for far too long, Yeshua is here to finally, epically, proportionately, in alignmently, take back what had never ever been lost to this throne. As these rose-colored glasses begin to become recognized as what it has always been, lightworkers will begin to trigger in memories as they awaken to a reality field of the spiritual realm, to a realm beyond their comprehension, to a realm beyond your comprehension, to a realm beyond the comprehension that the darkness has ever been able to craft within our realm to keep us in an allotment of a bubble within this field away from this realm for all of this time. And as the olive branch begins to branch back into the light workers' bodies, back into the light of what is, back through this throne that had been dethroned for far too long, we will begin to see, to shift and to feel into the most massive awakening that humanity has ever been able to transcend into the two-dimensional and three-dimensional frequency on any planet, on any planetary field, within any galaxy, within any quantumverse at that. As sitting in the midst of our quantumverse sits a key, so bright in all that it was designed to do, so treacherous in all that it had sank into to portray, so all in all that it had ever wanted to portray in the treacherosity of the brightness that it sits in. That key, ladies and gentlemen, is me, had always been me. And as I carry this key through this reality field of unknowns, of a rejection field within all that you've ever known to be true, of knowing what it's like to be able to project an energetic field of delinquency, yet being brave enough to do so within the channeling scope of all that source frequency had ever directed me into within any moment in time. And within your reactionary field, within this moment in time, you may perceive it to be a kind of schizophrenia, a kind of multiple personality disorder, a kind of anything textbook that you can put to the word delinquency. But I'm here to tell you that as we sit here, November 11th, 11/11, this key has officially become activated into the ascension portals within this quantumverse. As all of these upgrades that I've been receiving in the middle of the nights, as all of these energetic encompassments that has been bombarding my energy body in the middle of the days, as all of this turmoil that humanity has ever been able to face, left, right, and center, up, down, and tumultuously real, has been realized within this field of Gaia's field, within our quantumverse. And as I sit in my energetic body, holding the only key within this quantumverse that will lead to the collapse of this entire field, just know that you may find this message a bit strange if you've made it to this point. Just know that if you are my loved one, if you are my enemy, quote unquote enemy, if you are my daughter, my son, my friend, my uncle, my father, my mother, you may reject this message completely. You may never ever compromise with the essence that I stand for. The energy that tumultuously trudges through this frequency field has been too real. And for the past 2.5 years, throughout my awakening, I've made it to this point where I'm able to sit here in the center of neutrality within our very own little energy scape of Gaia, while projecting an energy of neutrality from the very nucleus of source frequency, while I channel that of the essence of source consciousness, to sit here and declare to you that the projection field that you sit in was never so real to begin with, that the energetic body that you belong to had always been a part of the field that I sit in, that the reality field that we've built for ourselves had always been crafted and deceit, crafted in distortion fields by the darkness that we allowed into this field. As soon as Eve bit into that apple, as soon as the biblical structures of how the creation scope within creation scopes had been created within all of this time, for all of this time, for us to walk through, for us to decipher through, for us to skim past, for us to step into, for us to trudge through, for never-ending defeats will forever always lead back to a source consciousness of never-ending forgiveness within the peace, within the overarching love scope, within the overarching escapism that we have always been able to craft for ourselves. The meaning of all of this will smack you in the face in the middle of the night as you come into realization of that in which you have never ever been. And as you take off these rose-colored glasses, just come into a realization that you are a light worker and you've made it through this far in my video, through this distortional field, through your doubts, through your turmoil, through the obscene words that I've been speaking to trigger you into your moment of doubt, into your moment of disbelief, into your moment of judgment that there's a possibility that I could have a textbook definition of schizophrenia. Into all of these moments that you've ever had in your life where you felt the need to judge another person's circumstance, into all of these moments that you've had in your life where you felt the need to put yourself on a high horse, to anchor onto your egoic means within the energetic frequency that you stand in, that you stand for, and that you've shifted within and without so comfortably. Just know that this egoic means, this egoic energy had always been anchored into the two-dimensional and three-dimensional frequency of what is. Just know that the whole meaning of these lifetimes within these encompassments within Gaia's field had always been what it had always been, which is within a creation field of wanting to, of needing to distort into the opposition of the self, to feel into it, to experience it, to rebel against it, to sink so deeply into it that we identify with it to a point, to an aspect of the fractaling within the expansion process of what is within our quantumverse, to be able to come out whole, undefeated by the darkness within us, by the shadow that walks alongside our footpaths, by the creation field that Source had created once upon a time within and without us, within and without our fields, and yet by fractaling into a field of non-existential reality field within the physicality of what is. As spiritual realm goes, as spiritual realm comes, as the spiritual realm holds no physicality within the body scope, within the curtain scope behind me, within the couch scope that I'm sitting on, the spiritual realm holds no physicality, holds no neurons or neutrons so big and so small that could collapse this whole entire field through the hitting of, the projection of, the explosive feet of, the twisting and turning of, within the creation scope of the molecular structure of what is. Holds no physicality so big and yet so small and yet so tumultuous in everything that we've crafted for it to be. As we sit in these energetic bodies through the encompassment of this creation field that we've created for ourselves. And as reality fields are big, as reality fields are tumultuously small, as reality fields shall forever ever anchor us into the two-dimensional and three-dimensional frequency of our reality field, just know that this key that I hold has been activated. Throughout the expansion process of what is, it had been the only key ingrained into our reality field, tucked into an energetic pocket of neutrality of somewhat, that sits, that shifts, that's so much so protected by Archangel Michael's field within the angelic realm, to one day be able to be utilized into the retraction process that triggers in the greatest and grandest ascension process within our very own little bubble, within our very own little creation field, to one day be activated and trigger all that there is, all that you know within our quantumverse, back into the infinality of knots, back into the infinality of all, back into the finality of the one that we come from, that we've shifted out of, within the encompassment of the all, as we sit within the all. But we've never ever shifted out of it as much as we shifted our consciousness, our projection field, our perception field out of. And as we shift our projection field slowly by slowly, light worker by light worker, back into the essence of the all that we never ever left to begin with, within this reality field, within this quantum verse of allness that you will begin to awaken to, just know that my content and my content alone speaks the truth of all truths within this projected field, within the angelic realm that distorts you into believing that you're sitting within the underworld energies of what is, and to be able to delinquently walk through all of the different layers and fields within our field is what you will do from the bottom up, all the way to the angelic realm, to the very corners and tipsy-turvies of our quantum verse, through the very wind tunnels and energetic alignments that you will ever walk through, just know that the awakening process had never been so easy to begin with. It was never designed to be easy. To be able to escape our quantumverse within the lower portion aspect of creation, within the darkness aspect of our creation field, had always been an impossibility at that while you're sitting in your physicality of your bodies that I speak of. And as you begin to encounter these miraculous feats within your energetic field, as you make your way up in consciousness in the expansive process of the expansion field, that you will begin to tap into and feel into, just know that you're not crazy. Just know that you don't have schizophrenia. Just know that the people around you will begin to dictate your actions, to judge your surroundings, to see you as something peculiar that they've birthed, that they've befriended, that they've drank with through the middle of the nights, through camaraderie, through camaradership, through friendships, through allyships, through the concept of ratting or not ratting each other out, through the criminal scope and scape of things. Just know that the delinquency that you sit within and without this reality field within had never been designed to be that in which it has forever always been meant to be. Just know that the reality field that you sit in has become the new reality field within Gaia's consciousness, within all of consciousness, within our quantumverse, as this key becomes activated into the retraction process of the darkness of what is. As we begin to compartmentalize the darkness of what is, the brightness will seep through once again for all of consciousness to experience within this quantumverse. The journey has been arduous towards the expansive process within the expansive energies of what is. The journey has been forever archingly tumultuous within the overall generality of the scope of what is, within our creation field, within our quantumverse of what is. And as journeys come and journeys go through the expansion and retraction process of what is, just know that if you don't recognize the words that I'm saying, if you don't conglomerately recognize me for who I am in this very moment in time, if you've recognized me for all of my life, for all of my lifetimes of reincarnation cycles through and through, just know that that's also okay. My content had never been made for you or meant to be made for you. As a small percentage of humanity fields begins to awaken to their destination, to their destiny within the lightworking scope of things, they will begin to search for answers. My content had always been through and through made for these lightworkers. Not all lightworkers, but the lightworkers in the design of the word lightworker, within the lightworking scope of things, built within this reality, to really truly hold source frequency as a rod of light to be projected in their energetic field towards the end of time. That will lead to a new beginning. That will have the capacity to become activated as they transcend our whole entire reality field, brick by brick, building by building, cloud formation by cloud formation, dust by dust, dirt by dirt, bird by bird, human by human. As we interlink all of our energy bodies through these rods of light that we hold, as we interlink and intermingle all of the energy within the quantumverse into our energy bodies, as we expand through the expansive process of this light, through this energetic frequency that anchors into the angelic realm so greatly, so deeply, so forthcomingly. Those are the light workers that I speak to. Not all light workers, but only the ones whose energy bodies have been designed to anchor in this physicality of a 5-dimensional frequency. As you may or may not know by now, if you are a light worker, all of us are assigned different roles within our reality fields. Some of you may be the sacrificial lamb to dispose of information structures to help awaken others within your field by placing yourself in the viral scope of things, to expand yourself through mainstream media, through Instagram, through Facebook, through whatever media outlet your country, your destination, the encompassment of your field holds. Some of you may anchor yourself so deeply into Gaia's surface within the lower dimensional frequencies that you project the meaning of the opposition of the confusion field that the darkness tranquilizes and the darkness portrays within this moment in time to want to confuse all light workers into this confusion field of pulling them away from their destination, the ultimate destination of the expansive field where there will be no darkness no more. Some of you have crafted the Arcturian realms in your previous lifetime within the consciousness that your oversoul holds. Some of you have fractaled from the energetic lineage of the energy pocket between pockets that sits here to hold up our distortion fields and to hold it while these light workers within their energy bodies project this light. Some of you were never designed to hold this light, but to react, but to hold, but to project another type of energy within your field that congruently and incongruently contributes to the field of the all through this ascension process as we anchor in the 5-dimensional frequency of what is. All of you serve a purpose to belonging in our reality field. And just as you come into realization that you are a light worker, the one that I speak of, the ones that I speak of within the light working scope of things, that you're not a light worker, the other ones that I speak of within the light worker scope of things, just know that the importance of your belonging in our frequency, regardless of your belief system, regardless of whether or not you've even come to terms with who you are, who you decided to fractal through, into, within this reality field. As you trudge through this energy frequency of amnesia, just know that that doesn't hold you accountable to be any more or any less as important as the whole of what is. Just know that just because you are not a part of the audience that I speak to, that you hold the right to educate yourself on the remembrance of all that will drop into your field as the clock ticks by towards our ascension process towards mid-2027 as we anchor in this light through all of the light workers' bodies that I speak of, as we trigger in the greatest and grandest ascension scope within your consciousness, within our consciousness, within the consciousness of the one and only source that we represent within any moment in time, within this reality field of what is. Just know that you are real. What you're going through is monumentally blissful. What you're going through is monumentally hurtful. What you're going through will become monumentally judged by the general public, by other light workers who are not in the same encompassment of the same field that you sit in, that you stand in, that you protrude through. Just know that the strength within you had never ever not been built to be able to activate yourself into transcending the need to feel as if you are an accomplice to your destruction field within the human scope of what is. Just know that the power that you hold had never not been not able to become activated to build the strength that you need to transcend through all of the pockets of transcendence that you need to walk through to get to the end of this tightrope so that you can step into your ultimate faith, your ultimate belonging, your ultimate hope lost, hope found, forgiveness lost, forgiveness forever archingly found within the scope of the end of this tightrope that you will begin to walk towards as you walk through all of these layers of delinquencies and energetic pockets of frequencies of rejection fields of who you've tended to become. Who you've tended to become is a large and cohesive concept of non-conceptuality, as this is all that you've ever grasped onto within this lifetime of distortional fields of who you've thought that you are, that you were in this moment in time if you've already awakened into your true self. As what you've always been had always been a perception at the end of that tightrope that I speak of. It had always been that point of the endpoint perspective of a source consciousness within the beginning scope of the hope that you've newly found, of the hope that you have yet to find, of the hope that you will forever archingly sink into until the end of days that leads to a new tomorrow. As the creation scope that we've created for ourselves had never been an easy one to transcend, to step into, to know into, to even want to live into, knowing the destruction field that we sit in, knowing the energetic encompassment of the last lifetimes, before being able to retract ourselves into seeing what the 5-dimensional frequency had always been about, what our reality field had always stood for within the creation scope of what is. You sacrificed yourself to volunteer a part of your oversoul to drop down into this creation field, into your body. That's no easy feat. That's no easy scope to transcend into. You had always known of the difficulties that you would have to walk through this awakening process, but you had never ever been able to fathom how difficult it would be until you could actually, in actuality, stand in the shoes that you stand in, sit in the seat that you sit in within the physical scope of things. I can compromise with your pain as I'm shifting through it every step of the way, as I felt the rejection all around me every step of the way. You don't think I'm mentally coherent enough to compromise with the words that are coming out of my mouth, to feel into the aspects within the 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional frequency of our reality field, to feel that, yeah, it could be a little bit strange to everybody who hears my message. As of November 11th, 2025, sitting in the Toronto scope of things in Canada. Yeah, it could be a little bit delinquent for everybody in my life on a personal, professional, friendship, love level, on a children level, any level you can ever think of, to be able to wrap our minds around these concepts that I speak of. I'm coherently clear. I've mentally alleviated myself from the encompassment of the accusations that have come towards my way from people who've known me for all my life, from people who've supported me for all of my life. But the strength inside me has decided to continue to trust in the source inside me to be able to guide me towards my final destination. Because I've seen alignment for what it truly is. And as you go through your lightworker awakening scope of things, you will be able to experience alignment like no other. You will be able to see miracles, to step into miracles as the miracle that you are, as you begin to download and transcend your reality field into another quantumverse at that. Into our neighboring quantumverse at that. Into the projection field above and beyond the very borders of our quantumverse at that. Ladies and gentlemen, in my previous videos, I did mention that within our reality field, that you won't be able to go further than the very borders of our quantumverse. And yet, the ones that I speak to, the ones that my messages are really directed at, as I am the leader of this group, carrying this key that will activate all of their light bodies into the ascension, syndromes and symptoms of what is. As I am the end all and be all to the end of this tightrope energy, as my oversoul represents all of that, of the energetic frequency above and beyond the very borders of our quantumverse. And mark my words, I will pull each and every one of us outside into the border scope of the external energy of where we come from. Mark my words, as I've said in the previous messages and videos, that it is an impossibility and it has been built into the defense mechanism of the safety mechanism within our quantumverse to not be in the allotment of allowing any which fractal of consciousness reach above and beyond the angelic realm, above the very borders that distinctualizes our reality field within our quantumverse, above and beyond the angelic realm, into creation field itself, above and beyond that. But you will be able to do just that. As I've decided within any moment in time, within this quantumverse itself, within the creation scope of what is, that you need to see it, to believe it, to become it, to know it. And even as your oversoul comes from the projection field of a field within our quantumverse itself, even as your oversoul has projected itself within a delusional field, a delinquency field within our quantumverse itself, as it fractaled out through my energy body, through the energy body of my oversoul, our oversoul, to encompass all of the frequency within our little creation field, within our little quantumverse. Even as you sit there in your energetic body of the human scope of what is, gawking at the words that are coming out of my mouth, not believing what is true and what is not true, just know that one day you will awaken to the frequency that I speak of my oversoul, of our oversoul, of the oversoul that fractaled out your oversoul above and beyond into this quantumverse, into the oneness that we are. As it has been decided that this is what it is needed in this very moment in time, to pull all of you out of the slumber and into the reality field that we came from, that we once upon a time fractaled out of within any moment in time. It had been decided by my oversoul, by me, myself, and I, by the all within the tranquility field of what is, within the allness of the all that we've transcended into and out of within any moment in time, to experience this reality field, to create this reality field of creation within the creation scope of what is, to be able to feel content, to be able to feel heard, to be able to feel like I'm not going crazy prior to the ascension process of shifting into what is, to be able to share, to be able to hold, to be able to know that all of these light workers that I speak to will begin to awaken one by one into this field above and beyond our quantumverse that I speak of. And as you trigger in these memories that are so built in and ingrained into that oversoul that I sit in, that I came from, that I fractaled out of, above and beyond the quantumverse, the very borders of our very creation field of the allness that all has ever been, you will also be able to tap into all of me and more, all of that and more, all of you and more, as you've come from the very same place that I sit in, that I come from. As each and every fractal of an individual within this reality field of this matrix, within this reality field of these quantum verses that have ever existed out there, within the reality field of all of the galaxies, of the Milky Way, of the Andromeda galaxy, and the nameless ones that shall never be able to be perceived with the human scope of things, come from a place and a pocket outside of our very own quantumverse. And prior to the descension of this creation field, of the bubble of our quantumverse, we decided to anchor ourselves so deeply into the creation scope of what we've created to protect ourselves, to protect what's outside of ourselves from the darkness within that we've decided to trudge through. And as you come into these memories, just know that Aliana, the oversoul that I come from, the oversoul that you come from, will lead the way into the brightness of what is for you. That Yeshua, the oversoul that I come from, the oversoul that it comes from, the oversoul that comes from Aliana, will lead the way into the oversoul of Aliana for you. And the oversoul above the oversoul of Aliana, that fractaled out the oversoul of Aliana, will guide the way into the allness that Aliana will direct, that Yeshua will direct into the oversoul of Aliana, that Aliana will direct into the oversoul of the allness that you will be able to tap into. As I've decided so. As I've decided that this delinquency field of loneliness should no longer exist no more. As we fractaled out into our very own bodies as light workers that I speak to, we knew how difficult it would be to be able to encompass this light within the judgmental glares of each other at that, let alone the glares of the whole entire world as we trudge through the treacherous, tumultuous awakening process that we are, that this whole delinquency field with Gaia holds, that Gaia herself holds. Let's not forget, Gaia had always been the star of the story. And every single pain that we feel, every single rejection that we hold, every single distortion field that we walk through, every single death, every single turmoil, every single evilness that has ever glazed upon her surface sits within her core, is felt by the ultimate soul that we are here to encompass, and that is Gaia herself. The strength within her will fuel the strength within us towards the end of days that will lead to a new biblical structure of a new tomorrow. And yet, as she sat here all alone through her non-tranquility, through the scarceness within the scaredness of her energy field for all of this time, she herself had decided once upon a time, no more, that it's time. It's time to transcend this darkness within her before the destruction of her builds up to a point that destroys her whole entire being in the physicality of what is, that destroys her whole entire energy field to a point of oblivion, to a point where she needs to merge back with source, but not before the destruction of her physicality. She wanted to, near the end of days, leading up to a new tomorrow, experience the strength inside her, experience the strength in all of us. And as we tap into the pain that it takes to overarchingly even be able to walk through the gates of hell, to be able to live through these lifetimes, and then to be able to open our eyes and download this information and come to a realization of the delinquency this whole entire field is, all the while walking through a field of a rejection field where every single glaring eye will be looking at you as you begin to come into your memories. Just know that the decision to support each other through the download of the frequency that you'll be able to reach into above and beyond the very borders of our quantum realm had never been taken so lightly by source frequency. And yet, as I had approached source in my subconscious moments, in my waking moments, in my sleeping moments, to anchor in this energy of hopelessness lost and faith forever archingly found, it has been decided that we need to be here, not only in our physicality, but to be able to support each other in the memories that I've come into, that you will soon be able to come into. And that is what is so needed within our field that had never been decided upon prior to fractaling into our reality field. Within all of the plans and schemes that we've ever been able to walk through and walk into, in this very moment in time, you have been alleviated from this pain. As all of us will begin to walk through the support system that we need to find within our very own reality field as we come into the realization of who we truly are, as we come into the memories of who Aliana has always been within our reality field. As her consciousness, its consciousness belongs to source consciousness of this great and grand oversoul within creation that had once upon a time fractaled its consciousness into a little bubble to create our quantum realm within her blueprint, which is the 50% darkness and 50% brightness of what is within our very own reality field. And as you transcend into the light and begin your downloading process near the end of this month, near the beginning of next month, as you project through this light within the downloading process leading up to the ascension syndromes and symptoms of what is, just know that it has been built into your reality field to pull you closer and closer and nearer into your support group, into your support system. And as you sit here, if you sit here alone, as I sit alone in this very moment in time, projecting this light of these memories into my phone, into your electronics, just know that you will no longer be alone. Just know that the hope that you've fallen back into, that you've sanken back into, had always been a hope so everlastingly steeped in distortional fields, so everlastingly real in the way that it could anchor onto your pain, so everlastingly loving in the way of the foreverness, of the never-endingness of this hope that has connected our heart chakras to Aliana's very own energy chakra system within source consciousness in itself, as it connects to the all that there is. And if God is real, so is this hope that you will be able to find in the midst of your tumultuous times as you sit alone on that couch, projecting your very own energy field into oblivion, as you felt alone through your awakening, as you begin to scramble to find people who can emphasize with you, who can compromise with the layout of your stupidity, quote unquote, who can understand this is not schizophrenia. This is not multiple personality disorder. This is not within the understanding or understandment of anything that anyone could ever walk through in this lifetime, unless they are you, unless they are I, unless they are us in the whole conglomerated whole of the lightworking scope of things within this lightworker group that I speak of, that had always been designed to hold and anchor in the light as we merge our energetic bodies in with each other, in onto each other's field, as we anchor in all of the energetic frequency within this quantumverse, connecting us through and through the ley lines that dips, alleviates, descends, alleviates, projects, alleviates, tunnels through all of the tunneling systems within our quantumverse to reach up to the very top scope within the bordering walls of our angelic realm. And as you transcend past those very walls at the very top of our angelic realm into a scope of allness, I welcome you. I welcome you home to where we've always come from, to where we've always been able to anchor this light out of and into within this quantumverse. And I've decided that I'm sick and tired of being alone in this reality field within this leadership of what is. I've decided that each and every one of us need to hold accountability for the light that we've crafted ourselves to become. And even as you come from the oversoul, within the oversoul scope of things, within the consciousness that you sit in within our very own little quantum realm. And even though I've dropped down from an energetic field of Aliana above and beyond the very borders of our quantum realm, we will join forces, we will find each other, we will merge energy frequencies, as that is what is so needed to pull Gaia, the entirety of Gaia, to activate this key, to transcend into the impossibilities of what is, into all that you are, into all that we've ever been, into the 5-dimensional frequency of the closing of our reality field within the 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional frequency within our very own little quantum realm. So ladies and gentlemen, as you begin to tap into this energy, as you begin to fall into these memories, just remember to never lose hope, to anchor onto that hope, to anchor onto that warmth that you shall forever archingly hold within that heart chakra of yours, to always believe that you're never ever alone, that you have never ever been alone, that you have forever archingly always been you within the all of the loneliness that we've forever archingly been, as all is one and one is all. And it is only within the loneliness of it all had we ever wanted to fractal out and descend down into any reality field to experience the opposition within the self, of the self, to not be so lonely. So as you anchor into this loneliness, just know that other parts of self will find you, will dictate how you open up to your fields to encompass all that they are in the memories that they will also begin to remember towards the end of times that leads to a new beginning. Hold on to that hope that you're not going crazy, as you know you're not, as you forever archingly have ever known that the sky is blue and the grass is green, that the reality field that you've stepped into is far different than the reality field that exists in this quantumverse, within our reality field, within Earth, within Gaia herself, that she's able to carry and portray. And just because you've been able to extend your frequency field, your consciousness up towards the ethers of what is past the very borders of this quantum realm, it does not mean that you're insane. And as all energy fields must come to an end the way that they began in the very beginning of time, of space, of a placement of no time, so must these memories come into a fruition. And I wish you all a happy night, a happy morning, a happy ascension energy wherever you are, as we transcend this frequency field and merge ourselves in consciousness, in physicality, in all, back towards the one, back into the not point perspective of where we come from, within the all of creation of what is. Until next time, and happy 11/11 portal.